Hi, my name is Heather Smith and you're listening to the Accounting Apps podcast. I've got some exciting news to share with you. Today's episode is about updates that have happened recently. So accounting app updates in the space, March, April, May 2024. And you may recall that we had a similar episode like this back at the start of March, and we are now syndicating these tech update episodes through the Accountants Daily podcast network. So we're really quite excited about that. So we're sharing the episode with you here. You can listen to it here on the Accounting Apps podcast, which I've been producing now for about 7 years. But you can also find us on the Accountants Daily podcast network. So really excited that we can reach a larger audience about topic and an area that I'm really passionate and excited about, and the expert guest joining me on the episode is Tyler Caskey, and he just brings such insight and experience to the conversation. So I hope you find it really interesting. I'm sure I'll talk about apps that you know. We're going to talk about apps that you don't know but are of interest to you, and there's possibly going to be some apps that are not of interest to you. But it's a collection of everything that we're seeing out there, and hopefully everyone comes away with something practical that they've learnt and can absorb into their sort of knowledge base and help our industry move forward. Thank you for listening. We'd love it if you can leave us a review or share this with a friend, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome. This is the podcast for the accounting technology enthusiasts out there, where we share with you features and functionalities and updates from March, April and May 2024. Hopefully we'll leave you with some practical information that you can absorb and explore immediately. So today, I'm very fortunate to be joined by Tyler Caskey, a technology enthusiast, chartered accountant, and partner at the Bean Counters. Tyler tackles, unravels, and rolls out big global change management projects. Tyler, what have you been doing in the technology space since we last talked?
Hey Heather, good to be here, and yeah, it's been a nice month or two. We've been going really deep in some payment apps. This time of year, payroll gets very interesting. And, some of the other ones we're really touching is in the inventory space. I think that's got some of the most upside for certain clients is, beautiful inventory systems that really take away the pain of those, point of sale businesses or e-commerce businesses.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you there. And I think inventory is an area that people, if they niche into, that's a big revenue generator for them if they niche into being a consultant in that space. So for me, in the last, month or so, I added a dream piece of hardware to my stack, which I've been looking at for about 2 years. I added a Samsung 49-inch Odyssey monitor. So it's 49 inches, it's curved. The curvature helps with immersive viewing. So I'm not always adjusting my eyes. And you install this thing called Power Toys from Microsoft Store, and it puts your monitor in different zones. And then I took my existing monitor, which was 32 inches, and I turned it from horizontal to landscape to horizontal. So now I have effectively 4 monitors in front of me, massive visibility. And so I can see big management reports on my, portrait one. And then I can see big spreadsheets on my landscape one. So I'm going to have a sit-stand desk. So I'm just constantly moving, and I do feel it has improved my productivity.
That's awesome. I was a 3-screen person for as long as I could possibly be. Now I am a 1 laptop, no plug-in screen, 15-inch laptop only. And it's been an interesting change as my role has moved out of data management and deep focus work more into team leadership and sales and project delivery and project management really has I've just lost my need for those big spreadsheets. However, if I'm moving data from one thing to another and I'm alt tabbing 4 or 5 times, that does drive me a little crazy.
Yeah, goodness. I guess that makes a lot of sense as you evolve. I guess I'm too much in the detail, but I do like the details. So
Me too.
let's talk about tech. I didn't think, sort of giving this a break of 2 months, we'd actually have much to talk about. I am shocked at how many releases and new features there has actually been. And I'm always and interested to hear your thoughts on this. I'm always really find it interesting that the releases that the real users want are not what is talked about in the media, and are not the ones that software companies even think we're going to get excited about. But that's what we're here today to share, what we as real users are getting excited about. So let's initially talk about some changes that are happening to the 3 big general ledger solutions sitting here in Australia, and start with Intuit. So have you been across Intuit recently?
Yeah, I have. I'm dabbling in their ledger product next week, and I've got one client here that loves, QuickBooks Online, and we help them use it and make sure that they've got their business numbers straight.
Fantastic. Well, they've released something which they've called Spreadsheet Sync, which now offers a deep integration with Microsoft Excel with the ability to move your data back and forth between the solutions. And for those that remember, oh, goodness, must be 3 years ago, Intuit purchased DataDeer, a lovely little company out of Malta, and that's some DataDeer magic happening in QuickBooks that we can now access.
Yeah, the fixed asset part there that you wrote, Heather, is amazing too. Like seeing QuickBooks release a fixed asset register, which to the general public, I just don't think has been available in QuickBooks for as long as I've been following it. Like, the spreadsheet thing's cool. I really want to touch it, but I'm still amazed that MYOB and QuickBooks never really kind of released a fixed asset register until now. Like, that's big change.
And you can save a lot of money not needing to do it outside of the solution.
I know, and it just makes it so much easier, because if you buy a computer, having like the fixed asset register created at the same time is just I don't know. I reckon 9 out of 10 of the fixed asset registers I review when we do like a system installation don't balance to the balance sheet, and it's because they're not deep enough, or you're using add-on apps. So it's good to see.
Yeah, and we also need everyone who's on the solution to understand how it works, because I've had people go in and destroy someone else's fixed asset register. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The Xero security on fixed asset, you have to be an advisor to be able to touch fixed assets. So you can't be like a standard. However, that gives you the ability to like unlock the books and play. So it's one of the tasks that I find it quite hard for, say, a finance lead to delegate. There'd be a nice security feature update for Xero one day as they grow into a larger business. And I'm interested to see who can touch it in QuickBooks. Like, can you give your bookkeeper access, because it's fixed assets are a challenging debit credit kind of balancing activity.
Definitely. And another interesting release from QuickBooks is their desktop app. Now, we don't like to mention the word desktop, but this one sounds interesting. It includes the ability to open up multiple companies and clients simultaneously, so you can toggle between them with ease, sort of eliminating the need to keep logging in and logging out and logging in of accounts. So that I'm intrigued by, and sounds actually really quite useful.
That does. I know, like, my brain immediately goes desktop app. I'm not ever going to do it. However, if we look at most of the apps, it's hard to be in 2 companies at the same time. And, if I'm looking at intercompany loans, if I'm doing journals from one entity to another, I'm doing a recharge, a payroll journal, there is actually benefit in having 2 open at the same moment. And I know systems like Mayday cover this off, for intercompany loans, but sometimes I just really want to stare at a balance sheet. So I don't hate it. And I guarantee there's a bunch of QuickBooks partners that will love it as well.
Absolutely. I think you need a T-shirt that says, sometimes I just want to stare at a balance sheet.
The amount of like accounting T-shirts I see at conferences at the moment, I can't wear any of them. They're not for me. Yeah.
Interestingly, QuickBooks has had two new app integrations that they're sort of showcasing. You can securely and efficiently manage your ATO correspondence through an integration with ATO Smart Docs. That's powered by Lodge IT, and I understand that's a free subscription. And also, Go Cardless is now available within QuickBooks Online, so you can automatically collect those reoccurring payments with Go Cardless.
Yeah, have you touched Go Cardless? Like, have you seen? I love it. Like, yeah. I put it into my old tax and compliance business when I used to be in that market, and it's just so simple for the client when they receive the email to step them through like paying a recurring bill, and it also does like really good reminder notifications. It's like, hey, Heather, in 2 days, you're about to get, this amount deducted from this business. Any issues, kind of let me know. And it's good to see Smart Docs connecting through there. Like me personally, I probably like ATO Mate maybe a little more than Smart Docs, but Smart Docs really works for like this, certain entities, and it is a lower price option in the market. It's really good just for that ATO correspondence, making sure the minimum gets done well.
Well, they say I understood it as a free subscription within QuickBooks. So as a lower price, it's the lowest it can be.
Yeah.
So let's move across to MYOB. MYOB, I will highlight their actual updates page has really good GIFs on it to demo the feature. So you can just sit there and scroll through and see every demo of the feature immediately. I always encourage solutions to do this. A simple GIF can really explain far more than words what you can do there. Yeah. Their vertical menu has moved to the left. They're using simpler language in their vertical menu, and they've introduced column options to give you the ability to customize what you see on invoices and the quote list.
That's actually really good by MYOB. Like part of our business is moving people to change systems, and a lot of clients we work with, have left MYOB desktop to move to other systems. But it's really good to see MYOB actually working on their simplicity and functionality. And I think they've actually done a really good job on the vertical menu. As an accountant, when I try to train a client on how to use a finance system, I want them to be able to use it without too much query. And I really think about the days when I was using QuickBooks Desktop and it was all up top. And, you were going, is this in Command Center or Setup, or is it in Payroll? And I think we've really taken leaps and bounds in this area. I think it's a good play by them. And my team actually, about end of last year, one of our team members had capacity. So we did a QuickBooks MYOB Xero side-by-side comparison on setup, bank recs, and invoicing. And the invoicing from MYOB actually got the lowest rating. It was like a 4 out of 10, where QuickBooks actually got the highest. And, Xero's, you can customize the hell out of Xero, but it's a bit harder to do. You need to know the nuances. So it's really good to see MYOB putting some movements into that invoice space. I think they needed it. I think it's really keeping up with the market.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that. And just because you mentioned invoicing now, the new invoicing, last time we talked about new invoicing in Xero, and I have now flipped over to new invoicing in Xero. So
Oh, I haven't like.
But you had last time. Have you flipped back?
I flipped back. It doesn't do Xero projects well enough yet, but I know it will. It didn't pull through my default GL account. So if I've got a client and I want to tag them to this sales code, it didn't pull that through. So once they do that, I'll probably flick across. Yeah. Well, that is interesting to listen to. I met with the Xero invoice product team yesterday, and they said that they need sort of
people to switch over so that they can test it at scale. So if you are in a position to switch over, do switch over. But if there's features and functionalities, flip back, and it's quite easy to flip back. So Xero have been extraordinarily active and lots of different things happening. I think a lot of us were shocked when they announced they've retired Planday AU, which was the partnership there, which was a workforce management solution. And they've got a collaboration. They announced a collaboration with Deputy, another workforce management solution based out of Australia.
Yeah, I liked Planday. I think it was a very cheap, cheerful rostering kind of system. It didn't really do onboarding or anything, but to create a roster and do a timesheet within kind of like the Xero ecosystem, I thought it was good. But I've been using Deputy since 2020 in depth for like one of my clients with more than 100 staff. And it's a very good rostering system. It's got some really cool things like, close up rules. So, hey, Tyler, don't forget to, have you done the till? Have you locked the front door? Have you set the alarm? But where it is struggling for me at the moment is it's pushing its awards to Xero. So it pushed the data, but I found like our payroll process was a little bit slow using Deputy because especially if there was a change of award, I had to go in and, the team there had to go in and manually archive the old award rates and then add the new ones, which was very different to, say, Employment Hero, which updates. And so I hope by Deputy and Xero getting closer that it creates a better payroll function, because I think Deputy's rosters are good, but I really want that payroll function to be more automated and lower risk.
Yes. Yeah. And look, my sort of comment here is Xero very much came to the market back in 2007, 2010, saying open APIs, create your business, plug into us. And when they come along and they sort of take over a category and say, this is the category, that being workforce management, and say, this is the solution for that category, it does impact the other people in that category, but it also impacts the other people who are sitting, other apps who are sitting in other categories going, oh, okay, we need to have broader relationships, not just with Xero. And we need to not have all our eggs in one basket, which is always the case in business. It's just, I think a few people were quite shocked by that announcement.
Yeah, I was too. Like, because they actually promoted it recently, and then I talked to a few clients about it that moved across from certain systems, and then they retired it, and I was like, oh, okay, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about the new pricing plans for Australian business. So they are quite extensive, the way Xero has rolled out these new pricing plans. There has been a lot of talk about them. What are you hearing about them?
Yeah, they're small changes, they're small increases. I really like what they've done on the ultimate plan at the top one. Like we're on that as a business. So it kind of like, it allows a larger Xero organization to grow without huge costs. So like I think I get like a bunch of Xero projects. I get Xero expenses included. If we don't, you just get like a bit more of a certainty of your pricing. And it's only a couple dollars increase. Started, I think, has changed to Ignite, something like that. But the one thing I read when I saw this was like, I really think there is a hole there for like a low price, like an entry level price, almost like a Xero cash book. I'd love the cash book to be available to
the public,
just the public. Yeah. And like, every time I'm at Xero, like, if the conversation arises, I ask the question, or if I'm talking to them, but that's probably the only feedback I'd have. It's just part of,
yes. And you can definitely see the other solutions are pricing lower to capture people in the market who are like, oh, the low prices are stinging us. There are other options out there now.
Yeah, and I actually got a call from the guys at QuickBooks, or one of the sales guy at QuickBooks, and he was like, so Xero's price is going up. Do you want to switch to QuickBooks? And I was like, mate, it's on my website. I don't do accounts and tax returns anymore. But good sales pitch, and I'd love to look at your product. So it's interesting, like the competitors in the market like use this as much as they can.
So we should mention to the Xero users out there who are about to navigate their pricing plan increases, a gentleman by the name of Alex Miller has created a solution called Rechargely for accounting firms. Have you tried this solution yet, Tyler?
No, it's actually surprising it was on our list. So, Alex emailed me yesterday about it. He was like, "Hey, I've done something cool." Because it's painful, like recharging your Xero disbursements and other disbursements. Like we used to recharge high-level Dext plans as well. Sometimes you hold a rostering plan or a payroll system. So creating that recharge option, I think, is great because the disbursement allocation always used to get passed to like the most junior staff member. And I remember our receptionist at this previous Xero partner business was, manually typing each of these into the billing process. And I think it's rife for automation. And Alex has got a history of making cool tech in very niche places. And I'm super excited to have a look at it. And honestly, if it's good, I'll be recommending it for sure because it's a need.
Fantastic. Well, that's called Rechargely. Let us know what you think of it if you give it a go. I did spend 2.5 hours on the weekend doing my own books.
Ooh.
Because it just couldn't fit it into the working week. So everyone's very excited about the ability to sort, filter, search, and filter statement lines in the bank reconciliation area. You can now, I think, access up to 50 unreconciled statement lines, which looks very nice on my my portrait monitor.
Yeah, this was good. It's needed. It's just there was no reason to have a maximum of 10 statement lines, and also being able to search in that function. I was training a client on Tuesday on how to do bank recs, and just having them not have to switch between the tabs in Xero was really good. I liked it. I think it's a good upgrade.
People have been happy about that. The other thing that people were very, very, very happy about was that you can now bulk void up to 200 bills or bulk delete up to 200 draft bills. And I posted on, the funny thing is, it's not even listed in the Xero updates that you can do this because they don't think it's a big update. I posted about it and got like close to 300 likes on LinkedIn about it.
In what circumstances, as an ex-CFO, this couldn't make me more nervous? Like, at what circumstances is someone deleting or voiding 200 bills? Like, where does that come up?
When you integrate a solution and it pushes in too many bills by accident, you didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah. That comes to back to the test your integrations, do like one bit. Yeah. And I have done that once before. I think I uploaded duplicate bank statements or something, and yeah, it's part of the fun. It's
a once a year thing that you need. Completely agree. It's a scary, why do people need it? But it's once a year. It's on those big fix-ups that turn up that we need to do. And when you do it, like I remember sitting there creating a little robot that was going to scroll do it, like the olden days. But now, boom. And I saw so many people who were excited by it. But again, it's just that once a year when you come across and go, oh, what have I got to do? This is going to be so boring. The other interesting integration is Airwallex Bill Pay. So it's now available with Xero. So you can manage the full upload of the bill and payment of the bill within Airwallex, and the actual payment happens, and all of the information passes across into Xero. And for those who need more robust, more complex approval workflows and audit reports around that, look to a solution like Approval Max attached into Airwallex and attached kind of to Xero.
Yeah, and I've personally tested this one. I love Airwallex, Wheel, Patron, that whole market and ProSpend as well. We actually just did a ProSpend install. That market, I was working in New Zealand last week, and because we're trying to set up the bean counters in New Zealand, and they just don't exist in New Zealand. And all my friends, like I've got 3 friends running small businesses, and I was like, why are you still paying this on your credit card? Like, why aren't you using like a virtual debit card? And they were like, well, what is that? Like, what is that? But I think the thing I've seen from Airwallex, there's 2 parts. One is they've always kind of had the bill function, but they do have an audit trail on their bill approvals too. So they are really jumping into that, approval max kind of space. The only thing that bugged me is, like, let's say there's 6 steps to load a bill, code it, send it for approval, and then pay it. I did 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 of those steps on the app, and then I had to go to the website to pay it. And I was like, you're so close. Like, and Wheels got the same kind of functionality. Like, there is so much you need to do on the website to pay a bill. But actually, Wheels' payment function of bills is 5% better than Airwallex's. It doesn't have an audit trail, so I don't love that. I know it's coming. But as soon as let's say I'm the CFO and I pass through a bill and I mark it as approved and I set the payment date, that's done. I don't have to pay it. It just automatically comes out. The remittance automatically goes out, and it comes out of my bank account, automatically reconciles in Xero. So I see this as very much a leveling of the market, where Airwallex is probably catching up to Wheel, and I'll really want Wheel to catch up to Airwallex on their audit trails, because that's a needed part.
Competition is good.
Competition
is good. Very surprising that it's not happening in New Zealand, because they have such a simple banking infrastructure there. So
I posted about that too, and I had the founder of Wheel and the head of products at Airwallex going, "Hey, we're like super close." So I know they're not far away. But hey, actually, I found out something amazing about ProSpend literally a couple months ago, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but ProSpend is the only app that can do multiple Xero entity bill payment checking. So if you're in a NetSuite business, right, and you've got 16 entities and you load the same invoice, supplier number, amount, it'll flag, hey, you've already loaded this in company A, don't load it in company B. Wheel, Airwallex, they all focus on one entity. ProSpend, and we found this because we did a 37 entity group, ProSpend has the option to flag a duplicate invoice across multiple Xero entities and say, hey, you shouldn't enter this. And their payment function's very interesting. So they don't automate the payment out of their debit account. They create the ABA file for you. So if you're a CFO of a big entity group, you know that you're making no bill payment ABAs out of Xero. You're actually making them out of ProSpend, and it's gone through their approval process. So it's actually quite a robust solution. And ProSpend's like founding customer was KFC. So it works for small entities and big.
I think Trent Innes used to work at KFC.
Oh.
He always used to bring that up. That's really interesting. And does ProSpend have a robust financial control approval levels within it?
It's actually probably better than any of the others in the market. It's a significantly more expensive product, and it charges per document. But it used to be called Expense Manager, and it really had built.
Okay.
And now they've added on virtual debit cards, virtual credit cards. So they're one of the few that actually do a virtual credit card, not a debit card, I think. But it's like you can connect ProSpend to like NetSuite, Microsoft, Xero, everything. And their debit card function, approval card function it's legit. Like, it's a bigger product, but for those entities with 10 plus, 5 plus entities, it's worth looking at.
Absolutely. The time and the financial controls that it saves you. Looking for additional revenue streams that are low touch but add value for your clients in 2024? Get rewarded when you refer businesses through to Employment Hero's cloud-based HR and payroll platform. You can unlock additional revenues with a 10% commission on successful referrals. Learn more by visiting employmenthero.com/become-a-partner. In a recent webinar, the brilliant Cassandra Scott of Loris Bookkeeping explained how her practice leverages experts' AI-powered workflow automation to elevate their services. Cassandra shared how Expert identified duplicate payments worth $3,000 in a client's high-volume transactional data, something that would have been nearly impossible for a human to catch. Expert uses AI to analyse client data in an intelligent way, looking at over 80 different audit and risk detection points. Cassandra went on to share how she mapped out her first 10 workflows in just 30 minutes, improving consistency across her team. Expert empowers practices to standardise workflows and processes, and an update can be instantly deployed across all areas. Finally, Cassandra showed how data-driven visibility helps her optimise work and improve quoting. Using Expert's insightful practice management reporting and analytics, you no longer need to price using a crystal ball. Cassandra has been in practice 18 years and acknowledges that Expert was the missing piece in her tech stack, and now that she's rolled it out, she's well positioned to grow her business. Come for the data quality, stay for the workflows, reap the benefits of the practice insights, and let Expert empower business efficiencies. Visit xbert.io to start your free 14-day trial. So Tyler, let's talk about some of the big things that you are seeing in the inventory space.
Yeah, inventory's come up. Like, we're 5 months into this year, and I've probably had 30 conversations about inventory systems. We've done a lot of installations lately, or assistance and scoping, with retail businesses wanting to change because their inventory doesn't balance between Shopify and the inventory system, or the stock balance doesn't balance between the inventory system and Xero. And, there's really been a couple leaders in the market, like Sin7 Core, which is the old Deere inventory, was notorious for having, not notorious, well known for having the best balancing stock item. And you actually had a closed lock stock ability in there. So, you kind of closed your books in Sin7 Core, and you also closed them in Xero or whatever finance system. And what I'm seeing at the moment is like a lot of pain, and a lot of people wanting to change, upgrade, and move. And I think the one you and I talked about, Snyder, which is, connecting to Sin7.
Synder.
Synder, sorry. That's
it's
right.
Like Cinderella cleaning up.
Yeah.
So that's how you remember it. Synder, sorry.
They're trying to remove the pain of reconciling e-commerce transactions. And I know there's another one in the market. I think it was called Parakeet or something. But, like businesses that use Shopify, you can either batch your sales together as one item and then reconcile, or you can send through, 200 invoices a day into Xero and match them one by one. And it's a very hard market for e-commerce businesses. But on a positive side, I'm seeing constant innovation because the pain points are so loud and people are so open to changing systems if it doesn't work, because you lose customers if you don't show accurately what stock you have on Shopify.
Oh, yeah. Like, definitely. And you see people, the pain that they go through with it. Awesome. But anything else you'd like to share about inventory, or should we jump into other app updates?
Let's do practice management, because this is my favorite one.
Rob Cameron will be happy. Go for it.
I've been staying close to FYI Elite for a long time. I know Rob personally, and Rob's the founder of FYI Docs, and he's been so positive in the accounting market, and my thoughts about trying to build products that really make accountants and practices life better. FYI Docs, I think, it's the best product document management system I've ever used, and I've helped now 3 or 4 other accounting firms install it. But now that FYI's move to create FYI Elite and have practice management there, which seamlessly integrates to XPM, for client records and timesheets and all that type of stuff, is just really, it's a good move from them, and it kind of helps the larger businesses, go away from not effectively still use Xero Tax and XPM as their base product, and then use FYI Elite for their task management, their timesheets, their billing. It does multi-entity, multi-tracking category billing. When I saw that, I almost high-fived the screen. It was that good. It's just solved a pain point. What have you seen about that?
Everyone seems to very much love FYI docs and talk about the solution. And I had a sudden aha moment the other day, which was, it stands for your information, doesn't it? I kept wondering what's...
Yeah. And the price...
wondering what a stupid name I've just thought for the last 4 years until I finally realised.
And the price
between an old person and a young person.
Someone asked me a while back, what does the Philadelphia 76ers stand for? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know why 76. And then one of my friends was like, it's when the Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia. And I was like, that makes sense, But back to FYI, the price of this is really interesting. So FYI at their highest document level is $50 per user per month. So it's not a cheap system, but it's so good. It's got so many automations, and it's only $70 to add their so it's only an extra $20, so $70 all up to use their practice management system. And I asked Ned, their head of sales, I was like, what does the installation practice look like? Installation system look like? And he was like, it's super easy. You literally just turn it on, and most of the accounting firms just self-serve and start doing the billing themselves there. And I was like that's pretty good. So if you're an FYI Docs accounting firm, totally have a look at Elite. It's really nice. I think they spent the best part of 3 years building it. Rob will never tell you how long, but he and I have been quietly talking about it, over a coffee in Bondi for
maybe you need to make it a harder drink to get him to tell you the truth. I think the last time I talked to him was 1 a.m. in the morning in London. So
yeah, but there's something. A guy named David Boyer, the founder or the CEO of Change GPS, they obviously just got bought by Access Group, and Access has now released, I think it's Access Accountants Practice Management as well. And I had a look at that system, and it's got some real strengths. So there's some, not that FYI is a competitor to Xero, but it's an add-on. But there's some good systems happening in the market for practice management in Australia, and it's not just APS for the big players now. We helped a 200 people business select FYI Elite, and they're midway through the installation now.
Yeah. So to just highlight what you said back there, an add-on is something within the solution. So Xero has Xero Me, and Xero Me is an add-on. So it would be Change GPS would be an app, because it's sitting self-independent. They used to call it add-ons, but it wasn't kind of fair when you have Shopify, which is bigger than Xero. So
yes. I always like to make diagrams for my clients when we're talking about apps and add-ons. Use a logo. I cannot express enough how much that has changed our discussions once if you send a visual of what it can look like.
What do you do the visuals in?
So I use PowerPoint. We're a Microsoft house, and I just really like the way PowerPoint snaps, and it looks quite professional. It prints really well to PDF. I tried Visio, but I don't know. It didn't feel right.
I wonder if ChatGPT will be able to do that someday. I'm thinking Change GPS, aren't I?
If they want to save me time creating pictures before my sales meetings, the answer is yes. ChatGPT, please help.
I think Account Kit can do that, actually. I think it has a nice little tool within there. So reach out to Paul and ask him about that one. Account Kit.
It does company structures really well.
Yeah.
It does not do system diagrams.
Okay.
My pictures are quite pretty and I'm a bit precious about them.
Okay. So let's move on to reporting. The reporting solution Fathom, based out of Brisbane, now allows you to compare actuals year-to-date plus budget against a full-year budget, enabling you to quickly understand how the business is projected to perform compared to budget through to the end of the year. So that's really useful functionality there.
Yeah, super useful. It's so hard to build this out of Xero. So I'm glad that someone's done it. And my sentence is a budget is wrong from the moment you make it. So it is. So, looking at, what you expected to happen for the first 9 months of the year as a budget is just irrelevant. So being able to have your actuals plus your 9 months of actuals and 3 months worth of budget is just it's such a win for removing Excel compliance. And I met with the Fathom team the other day and we were talking about their simple versus detailed P&Ls. And there's such intelligence in that system about why they created a summarized P&L that you can literally print and shift into a board pack. It really does help save you time and also increase accuracy, because combining forecast budgets and all that type of stuff in Excel is just rife for error.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's move on and talk about Calxa. Mick Devine, we're very happy for talking about Calxa. He's the CEO and founder there. The latest feature is bulk connections, which allows the user to connect multiple Xero organizations simultaneously, simplifying the management of numerous entities. And they've also introduced sub-accounts to give users a more granular control over their financial data, allowing for detailed tracking and reporting within larger account categories. And I think Calxa is one of those reporting solutions that a lot of people in the not-for-profit space like to use. And it's particularly good at grant acquittal.
Yeah, no, I like Calxa. It's got a very nice driver-based budgeting. I would love the user interface, and I've talked to Mick about this, I've got a discussion open with Mick about this, about making it a little less confusing. Once you're in Calxa and you know it and love it, it's amazing. But it's good to see them making things more simple with bulk connections. But they were the first system to bring in tracking categories from Xero for budgeting, which is such a win.
Absolutely. So the solution Finlert has released SubSync, which brings together Stripe and Xero, and it's a two-way integration to ensure all of your Stripe invoices are in both systems, that being Stripe and Xero, at all times.
Finlert's a sneaky good system. I know the founder, Peter. They do some really cool things with leave projections, I think it is, in Xero, or leave approvals, maybe, I can't remember. But that it is a pain if you do your billing out of Xero using Stripe, it works like a dream. However, if you do your billing not inside Xero, so you can use Salesforce, other people are using, even XPM, you can send out bills with a Stripe link attached. It just doesn't seamlessly connect to Xero the way it needs to, and you're often doing a lot of reconciliations in that Stripe account. So I love that someone started to close that gap, because it's a real gap, and I'm going to get in and have a play with that system, I think.
Fantastic. Well, let us know how you get on with that. I want to mention that A2X has a new settlements and payouts page, simplifying the process of reconciling e-commerce transactions by providing a detailed breakdown and easier access to key data. One thing that was actually interesting is they said if you're connected with Amazon, it is called a settlements. If you're connected with Shopify, eBay, BigCommerce, it's called payouts. And if you're connected with Etsy, it's called deposits. So I thought that was kind of cool. Let's see, what next? Boma Marketing introduces a new AI feature, Content Assist, which allows users to customize content library articles to better fit their marketing needs. This tool leverages generative AI to create personalized, engaging content efficiently. ShareSite, the portfolio tracking software, has enhanced their trade file upload functionality with new column mapping screen and logic to streamline the process for getting larger trade files into ShareSite. And recently launched in Australia is NetGain, which specialises in automating repetitive back-office tasks through applications that are fully embedded within ERP software like NetSuite or standalone applications. They have a number of solutions like NetAsset, NetLoan, and NetLease. And to deep dive further, NetLease is a robust tool designed to help professionals navigate the complexities of lease accounting standards such as AASB 16 and IFRS 16. During the month, I also attended the NetSuite user group quarterly meeting hosted by Fusion 5 in their beautiful Brisbane offices. There were too many features and functionalities to mention, but to give you a taster, enhanced settings for transferring inventory and reporting fixed assets between company subsidiaries in SAP software, the ability to group payment transactions into batches and set approval workflows for electronic bank payments, and the option to mask or hide company bank account numbers in electronic payment files. Now, we are running out of time, so let's race ahead and talk about acquisitions, because we have had an interesting acquisition that's happened in the last month, which is the Access Group, which we talked about earlier, have entered into an agreement to purchase the accounts payable automation provider Lightyear.
Yeah, Lightyear's awesome. Like, as a account payable automation business, it does, I think, three things phenomenally well. So I know why Access Group, wanted them. We put it into a restaurant group early last year, and they had 4 restaurants and a head office, and they didn't have their AP function running seamlessly. And for a hospitality group, its connection between purchase orders and bills is just phenomenal. Like, have you seen inside that, Heather, in your time?
Yes. I have a video up on my YouTube channel of Roger demoing it for me.
Exactly. And if I can say, the thing why simplicity works in this market is if you get a quote to buy 100 kilos of chicken at $15 a kilo, and then that's your purchase order amount, and then it comes in at $15.05. You might not worry, whatever, approve it. That would probably be within your range, and it would go green or orange. However, if it comes in at $17 a kilo, that flags as red. And I know other systems do that type of flagging, but I think Lightyear does it better than anyone. And it does audit trails, and it's got also built-in queries to the supplier if they send you the wrong amount. So you can almost query back on that invoice. And I love seeing Access Group buying good systems, because I think Lightyear for the hospitality market is the best I've seen. But again, for Access Group, I think we were talking before, it's one of 23 systems that they now own. Very diverse group. What do you think about their makeup?
It is very interesting, and they actually have a really good reputation of purchasing an app or entering into the arrangement to purchase an app and not destroying it. And the app actually keeps going from strength to strength, be it Fathom, be it Change GPS, and I have full faith in Lightyear. One of the little backstories, which I find hilariously amusing, is the founders of Lightyear are Chris Gregg and Roger Gregg brothers, and this is the second time they've actually sold the company. They initially, it was run as InvitBox. They sold it to Intuit. Intuit sold it back to them for $1. and they've sold it again. And it's like, is that doing a Greg? I think we need to coin that term.
That's amazing. And I really want to resonate with what you said about that with the Access Group. I've got a friend that works for Access Group in London. And on one side, he says it's a really good business to work in, right? Like he says the culture has value. It's got high ethics as well. And, they've got good transparency in the company. But you're right. Like they just don't destroy apps. Like Fathom connects to Xero, QuickBooks, MYOB, Excel. I'm sure in time it's going to start connecting to Access Financials. But they really haven't ruined anything. They haven't touched the data, the client base. And in my brain, I think maybe they're bringing high quality funding to help make these businesses grow. And I think that's really good because, with more funding, you can, speed up the product lifecycle and the improvements of a system. So, you're right. If the right business buys the right app, you can actually see it go from strength to strength, yes, rather than sometimes things get purchased and they halt forever and everyone leaves. Yeah.
It is interesting watching the market and watching what happens. So following up from my last episode, I did want to highlight that Workflow Max by Xero is still retiring. And the last day to access it will be the 26th of June, 2024. So that's going to be less than a month away if you're listening to this. You need to have a migration plan in place now. Your clients need to have a migration plan in place now.
Absolutely. And Workflow Max, the new one, I hope it goes well.
Workflow Max by Blue Rock.
Workflow Max by Blue Rock, yeah. I do hope the rollout goes well. There are competitors in the market, like, this is not an anti-Workflow Max one. We've helped some clients stay on there, but I really like Project Works, which is out of New Zealand. That's got the best capacity planning I've ever seen. I like Work Guru, which is awesome for like the design and construction billing because it does percentage billing. It's got inventory built in, which is awesome. It connects to Easy Bills, which is phenomenal. And then honestly, there's a lot of businesses on Workflow Max that could just be using Xero projects. Like if you don't need, if you're running maybe 10, 20 projects a month, Xero projects could potentially handle that. It's pretty cheap and it actually works really well.
Yes, absolutely. So, Tyler, have you tried any new apps since we last talked? I'm going to mention quickly my two new apps. I have installed Camo, C-A-M-O Studio app to improve the filtering of my images. And I also checked out Grant Guru, which lets you search grants, $65 billion worth of grants, and you can jump onto it, try it for free. You can try 3 free goes at it every month. So you can actually just have that in the back of your head of something to test. But have you tried any new apps this month or in the last month?
Yeah, we've had some really interesting requests from our clients. So we've gone really deep into Expensify for one of our international clients. It's really good. The setup though was really hard. Like it connects to like Microsoft 365 and it's super intense. But once it's installed, it's pretty strong. We're looking at Redzi, which is reservations for like tour travel industry, has been cool. And then I've gone deep into Rippling HR and payroll and HiBob HR. And, the market in Australia is getting strong for HR and payroll. Like I still think Employment Hero is the winner, but Rippling has some very high quality products and functionalities. Looked at a lot of data sites, a business that pulls data out of Xero. Can also, we pump that into Power BI. And I know they're working on their Xero consolidation app. And the other one is like I've always known about Patron, but now like I've gone deep into Patron, helped it be installed for one of our clients. It just got bought by OFX, so it's got very good foreign exchange rates. And also they've got the bills and virtual debit cards similar to Wheel and Airwallex, and they've got a sneaky one too. Patron connects to Employment Hero, so you can automate your payroll payments without using an ABA. Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Patron launched and sold very quickly, didn't it?
It did. I think OFX wanted a card supplier, and so it made sense for them to, because Airwallex was, had everything they did under one banner, so it made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rippling, which you did just mention, is a compound app, similar to Translucent is. So it has built in a completely different way. And the founder of Rippling puts out very interesting articles to read, as does the founder of Expensify, Dave Bartlett. He's got some very interesting thoughts out there. He's very focused on philanthropy and bringing us all along for that journey, which is, that's something that I can buy into. So I did want to mention just before we end, do you have any personal favorite app suggestions? I'm going to suggest two of them. One of them is called Donate Blood, which is a fantastic app that the Red Cross have, which you can use to manage all of your blood donation appointments. It's a very slick app. The other one is one called Emergency Plus for people in Australia. If you are in any sort of emergency, you can quickly open it up and it tells you your location by 3 words. The entire world is mapped by 3 words. And so then when you call the police or triple O, as you do in Australia, you can just give them those 3 words and they can find you. Any special app you'd like to throw in there?
I do, Heather, but with the good vibes of your apps, mine's going to sound silly. I find booking a good dinner reservation quite hard. And, I've always used Resi, and it just hasn't got enough volume on there. But 7 Rooms has really released a high-quality app, and I've been using 7 Rooms a lot for, dinner reservations. That just sounds rubbish compared to, donating blood and stuff, but it does help.
I think from our perspective, the interface is really important. And then when we talk back to the apps, the Donate Blood one, the interface is just so easy to use, and it's being used by everyone. So it's general public. And so I think from a user point of view, that's really good. And it's really good for us to be aware of different apps to try. Tyler, thank you so much for joining me on this tech update. Really appreciate your time. How can people get in contact with you?
Thanks, Heather. If anyone wants to get in touch, best place is LinkedIn, Tyler Caskey, a partner at the Bean Counters on LinkedIn, or jump on our website, www.thebeancounters.com.au.
Fantastic. And so my name is Heather Smith, and you can find me on all the socials. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you so much again, Tyler, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Accounting Apps episode. We'd love it if you've got any feedback for us. We really would love it if you share this with someone in your network who you think might find it beneficial. I know some people share it, encourage all of their staff to listen to the podcast. Leave us a review, pop it up on social media, tag us in it. We'd love that. Thank you so much.